Hello friends, welcome you all to the next lecture of JCE Connect series of online lectures. We are into module 5 and dealing with anchorage zone stresses in post-tension members. In the previous lectures, we have seen how the stresses have an higher impact in the anchorage zone, how both tension and compression stresses are induced in these zones, and how critical is this zone with respect to analysis. So in today's lecture we will go ahead with solving examples and designing reinforcement for anchor zones. So let's start with first example. In this example, a post-tension beam with a cross section of 500 mm by 500 mm is pre-stressed with an effective pre-stressing force of 700 kN using an anchor plate of 200 by 200 placed concentrically. The cube strength of concrete at transfer is 30 Newton per mm square. Check the beam for bearing pressure and also design the end block reinforcement. Grade of reinforcement to be used is Fe 250. So now in this example we have a beam of cross section 500 by 500. The applied precessing force is 700 kilonewton, whereas the size of the anchor plate given is 200 by 200. The most important thing which has to be noted here is that the anchor plate is placed concentrically, means the center of the anchor plate exactly matches with the center of the beam. Okay, the anchor plate is kept exactly at the center of the beam and there is no eccentricity. The cube strength of concrete means the FCK or FCI value is given as 30. So we have to check the beam for bearing pressure first and then design the end block reinforcement. So let's start with the solution. So in this, the first very important step is to draw a clear diagram. So now in this figure which I have shown here, I have shown the section 500 by 500. Then I have shown the bearing plate 200 by 200. Then this nomenclature is very important. Y P naught and Y naught. These both we will be using in obtaining bearing area and punching area in the next step. So doing the correct nomenclature is very important. So side of the plate, complete side of the plate will be 2y p naught and complete side of the beam will be 2y naught, which I have divided into two parts of y naught each. Now in this case we have a beam which has same dimensions, or the section is a square one, hence there is no difficulty in finding y naught because it will be same. If we have a rectangle section, then the least dimension has to be taken as 2y naught. Okay, so that will be the area which will be the bearing area which is given by the side, which is the least cross section of the beam. Then let's note down the data as per the figure. From the figure we get y naught as 250, 2y naught will be 500, yp naught is 100, 2yp naught will be 200, FCK Fy as given, and the effective pre-stressing force is 700 kilonewton. So we have to first check for bearing pressure, then design the end block or anchor zone reinforcement. So if you make any mistakes in taking these values, the entire example will go wrong. Again I am repeating, as this is a square section, the things are straightforward. But in the further examples when we go for a rectangle section, I will explain you all how to take these values correctly. So let's go for check for bearing stresses. For this, first we need to obtain the area of punching. Now this is the area over which the punching effect because of the prestressing force takes place. Okay, I think we have heard a similar word in design of footing where we have something called as punching shear. Okay, so in this we have to take the area under consideration which is likely to undergo this punching effect. So in this case the area which undergoes punching is given by 2 yp naught multiplied by 2 yp naught. That is nothing but the size of your anchor plate. We consider that the area of the anchor plate undergoes a punching effect. So here we get the area as 200 into 200. Next we need to find the area of bearing. Now area of bearing is that area which will bear the entire pressure coming on the section because of the application of prestressing force. Now this area will be very important with respect to the calculation of bearing pressure. So this is in this case 500 by 500, which is nothing but the cross section. Now here we get 500 by 500 only because this section is a square one. When we go to the rectangle section, we have to select the least dimension, either depth or width. Therefore actual bearing pressure sigma BR actual is equal to P effective upon area of bearing. P effective is 700 kilonewton, whereas we have found out the area of bearing as 250 into 10 raised to 3. Substituting the values, we get the actual bearing pressure as 2.8 Newton per mm square. So generally our sections will be safe in bearing pressure unless and until a very high level of prestressing force is applied over a very small area. Else in maximum of the cases you will get the sections which are very much safe in bearing. So now our actual bearing pressure which is developing on the section is 2.8 Newton per mm square. Now this has to be cross checked with the IS code regulations whether it is in the permissible limits or no. So this is the first part in which we obtain the actual bearing pressure by considering the area of bearing and applied prestressing force. The area of punching we will be using while calculating the bursting force. So as per IS 1343, permissible stress, that is sigma BR permissible, is the least of, okay, it is the least of 0.48 FCI square root of ABR upon A punching. So here all the values we have with us, that is 0.48 FCI is the grade of concrete, area of bearing we have found out, area of punching also we have found out. Substituting that we get the answer as 36. The second option given by the code is 0.8 FCI. Okay, so 0.8 times of 30, which is the grade or which is the cube strength of concrete. With this we get the permissible bearing stress as 24. Now when we compare these both stresses with the actual bearing stress, we find that the permissible stresses are quite higher than the actual bearing pressure, and hence we can conclude that our section is safe. Okay, we can surely conclude that our section is safe in bearing. So let us move on to the next step, where we will be designing the anchor zone reinforcement. So in this step, first we need to obtain the bursting force, for which we will be using the formula as per our IS 1343. This formula we have already discussed in our previous video. The same formula we will be using, which is available in the code book. The bursting tensile force FBST is obtained from the expression FBST is equal to Pk into bracket 0.32 minus 0.3 multiplied by yp naught upon y naught. Okay, so substituting all these values, the value of pre-stressing force is 700 kilonewton, yp naught is 100, y naught is 250. We get the bursting force as 140 kilonewton. So this is the force for which we have to design the anchor zone reinforcement. Now understand the impact of this force. Okay, this will be a 140 kilonewton force which will try to burst the anchor zone. Okay, so here we have to provide a sufficient reinforcement such that the reinforcement is able to take this bursting force. So area of reinforcement required, it is given by the relationship A is equal to F bursting divided by 0.87 Fy. Substituting the values, 140 into 10 raised to 3 divided by 0.87 into 250, which is the grade of steel which we are using. We get the area required as 643.68 mm square. Further, adopting 10 mm diameter reinforcement, we have to calculate the number of reinforcement bars required, which is given by A required upon area of 1 bar of 10 mm diameter. Substituting the values, we get the number as 9. Hence, we have to provide a reinforcement of 10 mm dia, 9 numbers. So, whenever we provide reinforcement in the anchor zone, it will be in 3 or maximum 4 lines. Okay, and each line or layer will consist of 3 or 4 bars. Okay, so whenever we design the reinforcement, generally the number of bars will be kept as the multiple of 3 or multiple of 4. Okay, this is a general thumb rule with respect to the depth of the beam and the spacing requirements and all. Okay, so whenever if we would have got 7 number of bars, we cannot provide 7 number of bars properly. So either we have to go for 8 so that 4 bars can be provided in each row, or if you would have got 10, we should go for 12. That means if you go for 12, either you can provide 3 bars in 4 number of rows or 4 bars in 3 number of rows. So now in this case, we have to provide 9 number of 10 mm diameter bars. Okay, so the best option is we can provide 3 rows with 3 bars in each row. When you look at the figure, this picture will be clear to you all. Now, as per your codal regulations, the reinforcement should be provided from the edge over a distance of 0.2 y naught up to 2 times of y naught. That means you have to provide reinforcement over a distance of 50 mm to 500 mm. Hence, we get the reinforcement provision as shown in this figure. Now here you have two views. One is a longitudinal view, that is the lengthwise view, where you will see the cut section. Okay, so this view is the longitudinal view, this is the length of the beam, and this particular will be your anchor zone. Whereas this is the cross section, 500 by 500. Be careful, you might feel this is a cross section. No. Okay, here a cut section is shown. This is your longitudinal section, lengthwise, and this is only the anchor zone in which we have provided the reinforcement, and this is your cross section. So see here, how will we provide the reinforcement? These bars will run along the width of the beam. Okay, these bars will run along the width of the beam. So when you see in the longitudinal view, you will be able to see them as a dot. Okay, and this is the minimum binding or nominal binding reinforcement which is surrounding these bars. Okay, so when you take the cross section, you will see just the horizontal and vertical bars. Okay, so see here, I am zooming the view for you all. So in this view you will be able to see I have provided hooks also. From front, if you see, it is just like a cage. Okay, but when you look from the length view or the longitudinal view, you will correctly understand how the reinforcement is provided. Now here, as we have 9 number of bars, so excuse me, it has become 90, it is 9 number. We have provided them in 3 rows. Each row consists of 3 number of bars. Now if you talk with respect to spacing, initially we have to leave a gap of 50 mm here. Before providing the reinforcement, 50 mm gap has to be left, and overall reinforcement has to be fit in 500. That is 2, why not? Limit is 500. So if we see the calculation, total length available for providing reinforcement is 500. If we subtract the initial 50, the remaining length will be 450. So as in 450, we have to get 2 spacings. Okay, so 450 divided by 2 will be our 2 spacings which are available. Okay, this is how we have to provide the spacing. Maximum spacing can go up to 300 and not beyond 300. So these are the views. Don't concentrate much on the figure here, just understand the placement of the beam, and this structural diagram remains the same for all of these anchor zone reinforcement calculations. So this was our first example, wherein we took an easy section with a concentric plate, and first we found out the check for bearing, then we found out the bursting force, and further using that bursting force we designed the required reinforcement. So please note down this example, make your notes. In the next class we will come up with the next new example. Thank you.